Welcome to Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Burnie.
Sum up at BioWare.
What?
Making headlines today is the news that the lead writer of Mass Effect Andromeda is leaving the studio, marking yet another high-profile exit for the company in recent months.
Boy, this is probably because I chose the red ending, isn't it?
The darkest timeline.
It was.
Lead writer Chris Schlurf, who we're just going to call Schlurfy for the duration of the video.
What's up, Schlurf?
Schlurfy, made an announcement via Twitter last night confirming that he left BioWare a few months back, which many had already suspected due to changes in his LinkedIn profile.
LinkedIn stalking, the most noble form of video game journalism. Did Schlurfy leave the Normandy for greener pastures? Well, in our awesome news journalism, we looked on Twitter to find out. That's arguable. He's now working at Bungie on a little-known game called Destiny, maybe heard of that one.
His departure comes after only about a year of working on Mass Effect Andromeda. He was first announced as the lead writer for the follow-up to BioWare's popular Alien Sex Simulator back in late 2014, after having previously worked on Halo 4. Oh, you think that's funny, do you?
I worked really hard to get to those scenes, so yes, I found that funny. There's all kinds of game developer inbreeding going on there. As for the current state of Mass Effect Andromeda, Schlurfy said that the game is going to, quote, blow people away. End quote.
It does have to do with alien sex. But is this a red flag for Mass Effect Andromeda? This is just the latest in a string of high-profile developers and series leads that have been leaving the company recently.
About a month ago, Chris Wynn, Andromeda's senior development director, also left, joining Daybreak's H1Z1 as an executive producer. And a couple of weeks ago, not quite Mass Effect, but at least Mass Effect adjacent Dragon Age lead writer David Gator, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, also relayed out, and he's now the creative director at Beamdog, which I know I'm pronouncing correctly, which works on the enhanced editions of classic BioWare RPG Baldur's Gate.
Oh man, if that meant we get a new Baldur's Gate, that would be so happy. He could leave every company ever as long as he gives us some more Baldur's Gate.
And then never touch it.
In 2014, BioWare also saw the departure of Casey Hudson from Mass Effect Andromeda. Hudson was previously one of the directors of Mass Effect 3, although to be fair, he took the brunt of the blame for the contentious endings of that game, most notably from a Penny Arcade forum poster, which may or may not have been a BioWare writer. That part's still unclear since there's
allegedly
so much hearsay. But he pinned the entire ending on Hudson.
Just want to say for the record, I thought the ending of Mass Effect 3 was perfectly fine, and I consider myself a die-hard Mass Effect fan. I 100%ed the first Mass Effect. That takes 3 passes through the campaign, so suck it, haters. It was a good ending.
Okay. So with him gone, maybe Mass Effect Andromeda will have a better ending, at least.
A more popular ending, let's just say it that way.
A more popular ending. Okay. Assuming it gets that far. While it's not uncommon to see a mass exodus after a project is complete, it's not exactly a good sign when a company starts hemorrhaging senior talent while they're knee-deep in development.
That tends to hurt the project sometimes. When you add all of this to the departure of BioWare's founders shortly after Mass Effect 3 released, it certainly doesn't all seem like a coincidence. It may even spell some trouble for a title like Andromeda. When there's smoke, there's fire, that kind of thing. That's what they say.
But before all you Spectres start renegade interrupting to announce that the sky's falling or whatever,
let's
get a little perspective.
The way many of these teams are set up means that the lead writer isn't 100% responsible for all the content you see in the game. A writing team may also consist of a lead writer, senior writer or 2, editors or associate writers. The senior positions handle more of the major story sections and delegate the smaller stuff to the less senior folks.
Right.
The way it works in any company.
A senior writer might tackle a whole storyline. John Dombrow, the senior writer for Mass Effect 3, wrote the genophage sections of that game, for instance, or, as was also the case with Dombrow, a senior writer sometimes is asked with all the unique content for a character. His characters were Garrus and Javik.
Dombrow, by the way, just rejoined BioWare last year as a senior writer on Mass Effect Andromeda. Considering he wrote some of the most widely lauded parts of Mass Effect 3, that's probably a good thing for the game. Although he did write the genophage storyline, which means he's the one who killed Morden. Yes, we're putting that on you, Dombrow. We're watching you.
How was I supposed to go all the way back to Mass Effect 1 and do the tasks that were required to keep them alive?
If you cared about Morden, you would have done it.
Oh, fair enough. But things can't be all that bad if a talented senior writer is returning to join development, right? And while the lead writer is obviously a very important position, we're not minimizing that role at all. Writers are very
important position.
It's very rarely set up in a way that one guy leaving knocks down the whole house of Quasar cards.
We don't really know what reference Schlurfy worked on directly, but it's likely that if it was a few major sequences of the game, while providing oversight for other portions of it. That's what we assume, at least. In addition to that, it's also likely that for many of those senior positions, most of the primary work that required their attention might already be largely finished.
Yeah, Andromeda's been in the works since at least 2012, which is when Casey Hudson started teasing it on Twitter. That means that Andromeda's been in development for years now, with a lot of the major story arcs and scenes probably already crafted by team leads. At least I hope so.
Writing typically comes pretty early in the process. Plus, it's not completely uncommon in the game industry for designers to be playing some major musical chairs. If someone like Bungie comes along and waves some money in your face and is like, oh, help us, we need story help, please, it's going to be hard to resist, especially if you're looking to get back to the US from Canada, where Andromeda is being developed. Go USA.
Really, this is probably a bigger deal for Bungie than it is for BioWare. Destiny's been at the intersection of foobar and hot mess for the last couple of months. Players keep taking issue with the content roadmap, or lack thereof, at least visible to the public. Then there are those background changes to matchmaking, and their CEO left without comment. Whatever's going on over there, it's not boring.
But P. Parsons is now the CEO for Bungie. That's like completely and totally awesome. Now, they're suddenly doing Destiny expansions again, and with players continually asking for more narrative-driven content, it's going to be helpful to have more experienced writing help there, like somebody who used to work at BioWare.
True. How many more years is this franchise supposed to last? 8? Something like that?
Yeah, it's a 10-year franchise.
Yeah, well, anyway, last week's news that the new expansion is coming 2016 with Destiny 2 2017, plus the hire an experienced senior writer spells pretty good things for the future of that series. But back to Mass Effect, which is what we're supposed to be talking about.
So while some may be looking at these Mass Effect writer exits as a sign of trouble for a game like Mass Effect Andromeda, and honestly, many gamers are a bit hesitant after everything that went down with Mass Effect 3 on a writing level, so it's no wonder people are worried that this one might possibly, potentially, maybe be a letdown. This is probably coincidental. No need to panic yet.
Not yet, but if more high-profile developers start exiting BioWare in the next couple of months, then maybe it'll be time to start worrying just a little bit.
If playtesters start leaving at this point, I'd be worried. Of course, as soon as we get our first real look at Mass Effect Andromeda, gamers are going to be saying, Shirley who? Casey who? Crispin who? Where's Garrus? I want Garrus.
I always want Garrus.
Where's Javik?
We're asking the important questions.
Give me that Jack back. And that reveal should be happening pretty soon. No later than June, we hope, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it sometime sooner. BioWare technically revealed it at E3 last year. That was, what, that was like the third time they had revealed it, I think?
And just about as vague as it was this time as it was all the other times.
Well, vagueness is part of the video game announcement. But the release date is still a holiday this year, as far as we have been told.
Right, so what do you guys think of Mass Effect's lead writer leaving the series?
What do you think?
Worse for Mass Effect? Better for Destiny? Should fans be worried? Or is everyone just overreacting?
For all new happenings out there on the darkest timeline, like this video and subscribe to The Know.
We're in the darkest timeline. You know what that is, right? Do you have any idea what the darkest timeline is?
Darkest timeline is the ending, the red ending for Mass Effect. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not. No, it's from Community. There's an episode where they explore all the different possible timelines they could be going through. They're getting pizza one night. It's very complicated, but they end up in the darkest timeline.
That's sad. That's why the show was canceled.
No, what's really sad is that you don't know anything about Community.
That's the meta dark timeline when the show was canceled, went to Yahoo and then bankrupted Yahoo. Wink.